This is Story Recapped. Today I'm going to explain a horror, mystery, science fiction, and thriller film called The Dark Tapes. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Sam and Mary spot a video camera in the entrance of their modest theatrical playhouse. Inside the playhouse, they discover blood and disarray. They blame their friend for the mess and go about their day as usual. In 2007, Dr. Martin Callahan and his student Nicole conduct an experiment about REM where they believe that time dilation is rooted in night terrors. When humans are asleep, it allows entities or demons to become visible to the naked eye. They document the whole experiment with their cameraman, Jason, who owns a high-speed camera suitable for the nature of their experiment. Before they start, Jason gives them a brief interview to explain the experiment and their goal. For Martin, evil entities may be a product of hallucination since people awake paralyzed in REM sleep. He aims to study why cultures interpret night terrors the same way. They aim to provide scientific explanation and justification for what people call ghosts, spirits, and demons. They both reiterate that everything is science and not tradition nor magic, while being confident that the experiment will be successful. In another tape from 2011, a simple couple named Karen and David move into their new home and are seemingly happy to start anew. They tour their new house and are ecstatic by its spacious features that they lacked in their previous home. Not long after, they hear mysterious noises from the ceiling and around the house, and Karen describes them as footsteps. However, David assures her that there are no floors upstairs and it may be a rat on the roof. Karen becomes increasingly stressed about the situation, so they decide to document it. While explaining the sounds, they hear a noise from the kitchen but find nothing. They test their theory about ghosts by throwing a ball into the hallway and observing its movement. To their surprise, the ball rolls back at them as if someone or something kicked it toward them. While Karen takes footage of the living room, she hears the noise again and realizes that objects moved on their own. It devastates her, but they still can't pinpoint what they're dealing with. While she reflects on the situation, an unseen force attacks David, so she runs to his rescue, but they fail to get footage of the commotion. As they get ready for bed, the doors slam aggressively, even without strong winds, which raises their concerns. The best solution they could come up with is hiring paranormal investigators to assist them in safely getting rid of the disturbance. They ask for help and prove that something is in the house through a visible handprint on David's back. After some time, the investigators, Geoff, Susan, and Cameron, arrive at David and Karen's residence to offer their services. The team consists of a director, cameraman, and lead investigator to have a holistic take on the problem. While Susan converses with the couple, Geoff sets up the camera at different parts of the house to capture and monitor every angle and corner. That night, Susan goes around the house to observe the problem and notice that certain parts of the home are chilly. She attempts to communicate with the entities as furniture moves on its own. As it gets late, Susan and her team leave the house while letting the cameras record overnight. She informs the couple that they'll return tomorrow to resume their investigation, and they depart. Before going to bed, the couple separately heads downstairs and David gets attacked once again. As he passes through the hallway, an unseen force pulls him, but he manages to get free from it. The following day, the paranormal investigators review the footage and discover a menacing girl in the hallway, taking them aback. As they talk about the image, Karen walks out of the room and David reveals that they lost Ashen, their daughter, years ago. Karen is still in denial of her death, which is why they moved to a new house. Susan tries to convince Karen that her emotions might be trapping their daughter's spirit, preventing her from moving on. Shortly after, Susan persuades Karen to speak to her daughter's spirit and convince her to communicate with them. Cameron assists them in communicating with Ashen, and they hear a faint shriek. They talk more to bring out Ashen's presence, but they end after hearing a growl. In distress, Karen walks out of the room while the others continuously try to summon Ashen. Meanwhile, Cameron walks through the house on his own to record more footage of the house and note any movements. He begins to feel scared, so he calls out to everyone in the house, but to no avail. He walks into one of the bathrooms and, to his horror, he finds Susan lying lifeless in the tub. As he turns to his left, he finds his colleague, Geoff, dead as well. When Cameron decides to run for the stairs, he gets a glimpse of Ashen just before he falls unconscious to the ground. Someone attacks him from behind, rendering him wounded and unconscious, but it appears that the couple is putting together a scheme. All along, there were no ghosts or paranormal phenomenon. They called the investigators to carry out their murderous impulses. Ashen is actually alive and aware of her parents' evilness that she wishes to follow soon. Back to Martin's first attempt in 2007, Nicole and Jason monitor Martin as he lies unconscious and wait for him to be in a deep sleep. They successfully capture fleeting images of an unknown entity just above Martin, which appears to have eerie facial features. They adjust the camera and the software to enhance the image as the doctor prepares to sleep once again. The power shuts down out of nowhere, and the entity appears right above Martin in full form. Nicole rushes beside the doctor to wake him up, causing the entity to run off to the corner. They struggle to track the entity due to the darkness, and to Nicole's surprise, she sees it sticking its tentacles down Martin's throat. The entity uses him to communicate with Jason and Nicole, who struggle to open the door. In 2013, Caitlin calls her friend Alec to express her worries about the nightly blackouts. The blackouts happened since she went out with her girlfriend, Cindy, who parties hard. Caitlin cannot explain the things she does with Cindy, but she thinks it may be from the alcohol. Alec tells her to drink less alcohol or stay away from illegal substances and she should be fine. Caitlin ends the call with Alec after Cindy arrives, and they have an intimate moment together. Cindy congratulates Caitlin for earning lots of money in the recent week and informs her about their next cam session. For their next event, a free private show will be given to one participant of their group conversation. Cindy then asks Caitlin if she can get the chosen participant to cut himself a little bit for the sake of entertainment, and she agrees. The participants enter the call and introduce themselves as Caitlin hypes them up for the special draw. Cindy also greets them and selects Jerry, a seemingly happy guy who's excited about the special session. However, Jerry sees interrupting footage of Cindy and Caitlin as the latter flirts with him, but he does not pay it much mind. While waiting for Cindy to enter the video call, Caitlin asks Jerry to give her a tour of his apartment, and he happily does so. As he gives the tour, a dark and clawed figure lurks in the background, but Jerry does not notice it at all. After the tour, Caitlin asks Jerry to grab a knife as part of their session, claiming that it turns her on. Eager to satisfy Caitlin, he gets his knife, and the entity behind his chair suddenly reveals its hands. Caitlin repeatedly asks Jerry to cut his hand despite his concerns that it might hurt. As he hurts himself, Caitlin exults in joy and excitement. Shortly after, Caitlin and Cindy go to Jerry's apartment and stand behind his corpse. Caitlin says a prayer and offers the body to Cindy, who appears to be a demonic entity. After completing the ritual, the women feast on Jerry's body like vicious beasts. In Martin's videotape, after regaining consciousness, Nicole and Jason find Martin unharmed, which raises questions about their safety. Martin warns them that the experiment has caused them to be stuck in a different time dilation, and that the place may have distinct time flows. It keeps them trapped in a time where the outside world is seemingly frozen, which makes them invisible to others, just like the spirits usually are. Jason becomes frustrated and leaves the solution to Nicole and Martin, who are experts in physics and subjects alike. Martin believes he can turn back the hands of time by adjusting the settings of the experiment. Jason tries to seize his high-speed camera, but things quickly spiral out of control just as he's about to do so. Because he left the bed, which is the prime area for the experiment, he becomes stuck in two timelines, causing his body to split in half. Nicole and Martin witness his death, but the latter suggests that she should keep filming. In another footage from 2015, Amanda Courtney directly talks to the camera about being kidnapped and abducted for 4 months. According to Amanda, she has plotted the perfect plan for revenge. 4 months earlier, Amanda attended a party surrounded by her drunk friends, including Ashley, Josh, and her childhood best friend, Ryan. Josh rushes to Ryan to inform him that he saw 2 guys carrying the unconscious Amanda to a private room of the house, It immediately raises concerns, so both men run to Amanda's rescue. After arriving at the room, they subdue the guys who brought Amanda inside and successfully stop them from taking advantage of her. However, Amanda wakes up the following day and claims that the guys took advantage of her in unimaginable ways. The entire house shakes, and Amanda sleepwalks back to her room, only to wake up with no recollection of what happened. Even stranger, Josh and Ryan see that there was no earthquake reported and that everything appears to be normal outside. After a month, Amanda calls Ryan to inform him that she saw her mother. He's surprised, as Amanda's mother has a criminal record for killing her father, so he advises her to call the police. Amanda thinks she has her mother's condition, but she ends the call before the conversation progresses. Amanda calls Ryan again sometime later, but her mental state has grown worse. She seems worried and distressed and requests Ryan to gather their friends together as soon as she returns. A noise interrupts the call as if something, or someone, is commanding Amanda to end it right away. Ryan can't do anything but stare into the monitor as Amanda's camera turns off. Days after, Amanda returns to Ryan's apartment and gathers her friends to watch her sleep. She warns them that they should stay awake through the night and guard the place as she falls asleep, or something bad might happen. Amanda has a problem, and it's only getting worse. However, instead of remaining alert, everyone falls asleep and the camera turns off. The following morning, they wake up to Amanda's scream and rush to the room as soon as they stand up. Amanda assures them that she's fine and that she never realized that she screamed at all. Later that day, Amanda shows Ryan her telekinetic abilities by lifting a card without touching it. At first, he thinks that she's messing around with him, but Amanda's tone says otherwise. Something strange has been happening in Amanda's life, and she confides in Ryan, who's the only one she trusts. He refuses to believe her and says she should go to therapy, but she's certain that what she experiences is beyond science. Amanda is back at her place and shows Ryan footage which confirms that she's experiencing something supernatural. Ryan meets up with Amanda right away to enhance her abilities as she reveals that she can levitate. In the present, Amanda reveals that her abilities are rooted in entities who wake her in the middle of the night. These individuals perform rituals and experiments on her, and she feels entrapped by them. No matter how hard she tries, the entities always manage to get to her, but Amanda realizes that electronic cameras are of no use to record them. As a solution, she gathers film cameras and an old recording machine to record her abductors. That night, several entities approach Amanda, and the film camera manages to record their movement. These entities are oblivious to the fact that Amanda has set traps to defend herself from them, and she successfully does so. After a month, Amanda is finally at peace as she permanently got rid of the entities that disturbed and abducted her every night. She calls Ryan to update him on her improving health and mental state, and they laugh the situation off. They leave the video call on until they fall asleep, but Amanda's camera turns off while Ryan experiences another earthquake-like commotion. In Martin's tape, he and Nicole are still struggling to resolve the mess that they got themselves into. The demon reveals itself in full form and begins to interact with Martin and Nicole. The demon has imprinted itself on Martin and completely takes him captive. Nicole manages to get out of the studio, but Sam and Mary can't see her because she's in a different timeline.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.